Hey guys, welcome to episode 62 of CMD Towers, Brews, and Builds. I'm Mr. Com number 5, and my fellow host, whose birthday known around Kansas City as the Phyrexian Rebirth, Big Tuck.
Hey. Some people would call it Cocoon Day. I've heard it mentioned as... I've been wished a happy Spawn Day in my past. That was actually a joke that we had on with a friend. Excuse me, I'm kind of getting verklempt here. I lied. I do have bits left, right, and center. But that's what we called my friend, who I think he was somewhere from Eastern Europe. So we're like, happy Spawn Day, Nev. Great friend. We were good friends him too. But so Mr. Combo, I gotta ask. You're looking a little worn down.
No, I'm not.
Maybe a little ill.
Oh my god.
You do have a gash on your lips,
yeah.
which is true. But how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm all right.
I'm good.
Still have a melted hole in my deck.
What do you got? How are you gonna fix that?
I mean, just put new 2x4s there.
Do you have to replace the long one, like you were saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh really? No, the one on the bottom. The Godfather believes I can just put braces on each side. I don't believe that'll work, mainly because he told me the same thing on my couch and I did it, and that cracked.
But how did you fix the hole that you stomped through? That was just you could just replace the wood, right?
Yeah, Godfather found a random piece of wood in my backyard, nailed it in or screwed it in, worked fine. So
are you worried that if you don't do this structurally sound, that you could just now stomp through your deck willy-nilly whenever you over?
I don't know.
Are you willing to take that risk though?
Maybe.
Yeah,
who knows?
I
gotta keep the bid up. I gotta keep destroying my deck.
Yeah, this deck will be destroyed. Also, great to be here IRL for 2 weeks in a row.
Nah.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know you like your screens, and
I like taking my poop like a minute before I start,
just to get it out of your.
Just to get it all out.
Do I make you nervous?
A little bit. I do enjoy eating my 16 inches. I brought that tradition back.
I know.
That was nice.
I figured it was either going to be that or what were the one, the taquitos? You were on those. You were on those for a while, and then you would be the one taking the bathroom break halfway through, if I remember correctly.
Because that does run through you like lava.
Dude, you might as well. It's like some of that food, like a Philly cheesesteak. That I always make the joke where it's if you buy that, you might as well just go throw it in the toilet. Like there's no point in even eating it. So last bit on food news. I had broccoli cheddar soup from Panera on Saturday.
Okay,
it was a war zone.
Wait, was this after you left?
This is after I left, and I picked it up before my activity on Saturday night, and it was like it took me
dangerous.
It took me through like what most people would call church on like Sunday morning. That's how bad I felt. It was horrible.
Did you still make your event?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was at home. But
okay.
But the difference is I think the problem came in, they were out of bread bowls. So they didn't have that bread to like soak up the grease. Kind of like how greasy this bit is.
Jeez. Don't even know where to go from there, other than the fact that me and Tuck, as soon as we wrap this up, we're going to go watch the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back on the big screen.
Very excited, especially because the price, you can't beat it.
Free.
Now, here's my question. Now that we're in IRL, I don't know if I can turn my neck because I just worked out today, but if I were,
because you're so yoked.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that cloud guy, right? Or maybe the one who's like the Cobra.
You talking about the Michelin Man?
No. Have you seen that guy who's got the big neck and some of the jokes on it where like he could gargle peanut butter? It's incredible. No, but so I'm worried that I feel like we came down here alone, as we normally are.
No,
we're not alone.
We're not alone.
So is Godfather down here?
No, there's someone.
Ah! Who is that? Identify yourself before I get up, because I can't.
Hi.
Oh, it's the Joker. Visiting Harvey Dent? Hi.
Hey, I've always been told I have that Joker smile.
Yeah, you do. Okay, that was a rough one.
That was a rough bit. That's what you call sweaty.
You made me sit all the way over here for that.
Yeah, I sure did. That was dripping.
I'm sweat. Moving right now. Screw this.
Come on over, Squid.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning into the episode, and always with that Manolith commentary from the Rich Chaos Record Studio is Squee McGee.
For those playing the home game, I had to set up 2 microphones for that bit, not knowing what it was, and I regret it.
I'd say it was worth it.
I regret it.
I'm so used to the radio bit, like we're in communist Russia on like pirate radio when we normally record. Mm-hmm. So this new, I gotta figure it out. I thought I could lead in with the workout thing because you guys know I'm always sore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am sweating though.
I mean, it's just usually your forearm is sore from that workout.
How dare you?
Handling those 16 inches, as Mr. Combo said so aptly a few minutes ago.
You mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it shuffling my Decks, because I have 50 of them now. Deck.
Not Mr. Combo's deck with a hole in it. Not your deck with cards in it. I'll leave it at that.
What other kind of decks are there?
Yeah.
Use your imagination.
Oh, like one that's
cylindrical decks.
One that's got concrete.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's
that makes sense.
Yep.
Concrete decks.
Yep, absolutely. Anyways,
hard.
hi everybody. Oh, we're off the rails. This is going great.
Oh, being in person.
So, Squee, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Having a pretty decent week here. It's actually beautiful outside. The neighbors, other than, this is my day to sleep in, that I'm not working in the mornings, and they decided to show up at 7:45 in the morning. It cut down the biggest tree in the neighborhood.
Oh, you mean a normal time where people do work?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That is not a normal time.
I already have an hour and a half clocked.
I'm still working on a petition to get normal work hours changed from 8 to noon. And
For some reason, when he said petition, my mind went to potato. And I was like, why are you trying to get a potato?
I thought you were going to say, I thought you were like, why were you referencing my Missouri deck?
Quite frankly,
that would have been funnier.
If a potato gets us there where I don't have to show up to work till noon, done. I will do whatever I need.
You just have to show up with a... See, Collective, if you've learned anything from Brews and Builds today, it's that if you just show up with a potato late to work, everything is fine.
I'm talking baked potato with sour cream in it already, and you got to carry it in your hands because it's hot, so you have to punish yourself for being late.
It needs to be a baked potato with all the condiments uncooked in the potato.
I'm confused, because I don't, normally when people are like, oh, I wish I could sleep in later, you're like, well, then you're living the vampire lifestyle, but I don't think that's it. I think you're the way you deal with time and your sleep schedule and your day structure defies even mythological creature status. It's very strange.
I don't understand. I go to bed at 3 or 4, and then I wake up at 11 or noon, and I get a normal 8 hours of sleep.
Right,
What's
but
wrong?
I'm saying, if you were a vampire, you'd work the late shift and then hang around and then sleep through the day. You don't do that. You're in this it's a day walker. It's like Blade, but more vampire because he's not even out during the day.
Yeah, as long as it's afternoon, then I can go out in the sun. But if it's before noon, then my skin burns.
Well, if you guys want to find out more ways to potentially protect Squee's skin from those UV rays and all the content we put out, you should go over to our sponsor, level1gameshop.com. They sell all the different board game accessories that you need, including everything you need from a Magic the Gathering perspective, sealed product, singles, all the good stuff. They're the ones that give you guys those sweet monthly giveaways, so you should definitely go hook them up. If you would like to put some dollars in our pockets, cha-ching, you could have it on our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have 4 different pledge levels, and rewards vary from always getting access to the Discord and becoming an official part of the collective, which that does come with your collective tattoo. We have not given out a single one yet. We will be doing a cross-country road trip across the United States and Canada to give out those tattoos.
Yes.
By the way, I feel like the Discord is it's back.
I think we're back.
It is on fire recently. People are all over it.
It's a lot. So.
I can tell when it's back when I get overwhelmed by how many messages there are just flying through the Discord and I can't keep up with them all.
And we only have 31, 32 patrons total. And then we have the different content creators that are in there. So there's maybe 40 people in our Discord versus the Discords that other content creators have
thousands?
thousands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep track of anything?
I don't know.
Now, please go out there and support our Patreon. We would like to get to that point.
We love it. Yeah. I love when I'm overwhelmed by the messages.
And we are still running it because we are still in October. As long as you join the Squeeze Choir now through the end of the year, $15 for the shipping, and you're going to get a CMD Tower holiday sweater. And yes, it is Jund.
Oh,
we're only doing the one.
Yes.
Excellent. Great choice.
Now, if you can't support us from a monthly perspective, but you would still like to get some of the sweet swag, and if we have any holiday sweaters left around after we've hooked up the patrons, you get over to our website, cmdtower.com/merch. We have everything on there. Of course, being a patron, you get first crack at everything, and it's a little bit cheaper. But you know what? Sometimes you're part of the Squeeze Choir, but you want a playmat. Well, you can just go buy a playmat.
Sure.
And we still have 5 more spots left for the random giveaways for our first 10 orders. So please go do it. And yes, you can actually use PayPal. I promise it works. And of course, every episode we do, you want to give a big shout out to Pink Royal. And hey, stay tuned till the end so you guys can get details on how you can win that EDH Zendikar Rising deck bundle. So Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32, we've moved on to the endless themes that EDH can bring us. Each month will be a new theme, and we correlate how these decks are constructed similar to how a beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 different categories. The first one's rampant setting your board state. That's grain.
Yes, and grains are the foundation of a beer. They include both base malts and specialty malts, usually about a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of a beer. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp into your bigger threats, and just like a grain profile, they're usually a mix of staples and specialty cards.
Then the next is going to be, how does your board interact with the rest of the board? That's called hops.
And hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors. They grow in a variety of strands and help distinguish subcategories like IPAs. Our hop choices help clear and interact with the board so your deck can do what it wants.
And then the next is going to be, how does your deck actually close out and win games? We call that yeast.
Which I think this is one that it's got the most in like a while for me. There's a lot of options in there.
And because you even have stuff in your grains and hops that are in theory yeast.
Yeah, exactly. But I had to have something in there that wasn't just segments. Yeast are microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds alcohol content and carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then, in theory, this whole deck could be shenanigans.
Yes.
Pet card synergies that are in the deck that are just kind of fun. We call that spice.
And not every beer has them, but spices and other additives help separate a normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the pepper that turns a stout into a jalapeno stout, or the addition of hops that turn IPA into a double IPA. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, this is where we generally talk about it.
And then to seal off the episode, we have bottle capping. There's going to be Big Tucks and I's cuts and recommendations to the deck that are under $5, under $50, and a no budget recommendation. The only restriction is no mana only lands, which this deck could use.
Indeed.
So, without further ado, let's get brewing. We are continuing our weird mechanic month in October with a very commonly known mechanic, but it just has very little support. So we're talking Atraxa's Down with the Sickness.
What is that? Is that Godsmack?
Disturbed.
Disturbed. Sorry.
I saw them in concert. They were great. Yeah. So this is my Atraxa deck. It's also a spooky deck because it's got like angels and demons and whatnot, sort of at the helm. I don't have a lot to say about the building of this deck. It was part of my like rush to 32, and I didn't know what else to do.
Not even your
Rush-
path to 32.
the rush to 32.
I was like so close, and I was like, okay, infect. It's got to be. I was like,
Precon.
Yeah, I think this is right after Tice gave me. I got the Tice bundle, so I had all this like.
You know, I gotta interject here. All the crap you give about me talking about this box of gold. You talk about
Are
this
you
Tice
kidding
bundle.
me? Tice's bundle is nothing like your box of gold.
But he has talked about it in almost every one of our 62 episodes.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there, but also it's more of like, oh, speaking of which, Tice, if you're listening, which I know you're not.
Alley-oop, by the way.
I gave, yeah, here we go. I gave all that to Ultra Budget Brews for a school thing, so that was
Very
awesome.
nice. I like it.
So pretty much, I just kind of thought like, okay, if I was gonna play a dumb format like I don't know, Modern, I would probably play Infect just because I like it's kind of glass cannon-y.
Yeah.
Infect is a lot harder, similar to Milling. Mm-hmm. I kind of equate it to Milling, where you're kind of playing with like a lesser life total, but as soon as people suss it out, it's kind of hard to get through.
Sure.
So I had a couple of cool things in here. I built this right before I think we started the podcast, because remember it was a gray day at Ward Parkway, which rhymes, and
that every day at Ward Parkway?
Yeah, pretty much. And I looking on it, probably use a few more lands. Excuse me.
Why don't we actually read what the commander is and does?
Uh,
You can't do it from memory?
Believe me, he did not wear his
I just want to make
glasses.
sure, because it's like keyword soup dump. So Atraxa's Praetors Voice is a green, a white, a blue, and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature.
And what is that?
Angel Horror. Igma?
I don't know.
Okay. She's a mythic. And I checked this, finally under $20, which kind of sucks.
What?
Because it's
Really?
a reprint.
Yeah, it's been reprinted like 2 times now.
Yep.
At the beginning of your end step, proliferate. So this is a dumb card.
Yep. It's great. You guys heard me talk about it in my Super Friends deck, and literally there are 3 builds with Atraxa. It's Infect, it's Super Friends, and then it's just counters. You pick the counter you want. -1, +1, charge counter, energy counter, whatever
You want. So I don't want to get that much. So the curve is 338, which isn't horrible. I was shocked by
your color distribution.
So it needs a little work.
Just a bit, since half of your deck is black, almost, and you're doing the pie. You got 4 nice equal chunks of mana.
So I saw that, and again, this was before I even thought this was a thing. So I think I found the solution. I think 3 of the new flip lands from Zendikar would fit into this, and they're pretty budget. So I thought that might be a good way to go with it.
Chat with me about those. I may have one.
Okay, but before we get on any further, I have a little bit of business to take care of here.
I refuse.
So I want to tell you, but this one you're gonna like.
You said that last week.
So
and I just drink Flint, Michigan water.
We're having another go round here of Rock Creek Brewing. This is their Sleepy Holler, a very spooky beer.
Yes.
It's their New England IPA. It's a really good one. It's gonna be a hot blast, so Mr. Combo's gonna hate it. But Mr. Combo,
you just said I would like it.
Put on that bitter beer face. If anybody remembers the old commercials.
Like this bit I'm working on here. Okay. So do you remember the card sleeves fiasco from a couple Novembers ago? About the hooping and hollering?
Yeah, where Big Tuck literally threw a fit.
Excuse me. I could have handled myself a little better. But, do you remember what those sleeves were?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the sleeves on this deck.
Okay.
Right? And look at the frickin' artwork on this can.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Come on, it's dead on. The sleeves are the Headless Horseman from Warcraft or something. Mm-hmm. And this one has the Headless Horseman on it. So, Mr. Combo, enjoy. I know you won't, but here we are.
Cool.
Gone Bay. Yeah, it's
cool.
great.
It's like a carabiner cup.
Yeah, it's great for camping. Cheers. Ah! He's overreacting.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, go right ahead. So anyways, I just want to bring that up because I thought it all worked out with the beer, and thank you, Rock Creek, for your recent support.
Anyways, this is what I would call meat and potatoes INFECT deck. There's nothing really that I saw in here, which surprises me because usually you do try to do something really creative with your decks, and I'm surprised I didn't see a rigmarole that was just like, holy bananas! Like, did not see that coming.
Yeah, I think this is in like a run of me building like 4 decks in a row, just being like, okay, I can almost get this. I have the cards available. I'm just gonna do it. So
fair.
I'm wide open to changing it around a little bit.
Well, let's go ahead and get into this then. We'll start with that Rampant Grains. Big Tuck, why don't you kick it off? What's your first card?
This was a card I had a really hard time putting into a slot because it's a little sweaty. But I like it. So we're actually going to be talking about a card from Battle Bond, Generous Patron. Yeah! I know, I was like looking up for the thumbs up. So it's 2 colors and a green for a rare, a 1/4 Elf Advisor. It's $2.15.
So not fair. I have to type notes. Generous Patron. When it enters the battlefield, support 2, which basically means put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. And then it says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature you don't control, draw a card. So in theory, what you would do is at ETBs, you put a couple +1 counters out there on creatures you don't control, you draw 2 cards. The way that I would play this, like the degenerate scumbag I am, is put them on my creatures, don't draw any cards, but then I start proliferating these negative counters and infect counters, and then maybe I'm drawing 8 at the end of turn, 10 at the end of turn.
Exactly. I just now realized that the support mechanic is any creature, not ones you just control. I was like, oh, so it's kind of like a bad divination. But usually it's meant for that purpose, right? Like, it's because your infect creatures are dealing damage in the form -1/-1 counters. Yep. You can draw a bunch of cards. I think the first time I played this a million years ago, this card drew me like 12.
Nice.
And I had a bunch of blockers or something. Then you proliferate and go from there. So yeah, so this is like I really wanted to put this into Spice. I originally had this in Spice. Then I was like, it's kind of a hops card. But then I was like, it's actually more of a grain, and there's nothing else to talk about in grains. So I think this would be a card I think it's a card that's really cool. I just don't know what other deck would be great in.
Yeah, so I think the only thing you have to be careful about, though, with this card is that, in theory, if this deck is doing what it's supposed to, you got lots of counters out there on creatures.
Right.
And it's not a May ability on the draw. It's just, if it gets a counter, you could potentially mill yourself out.
You're playing against someone with their +1/+1 Civic Ascendancy deck. You're like, all right, well, hopefully there'll be some removal in here. Tap the deck.
All right. So for my second one, it's actually a infect card, but it's also a mana dork. And I really, oh my god, 3, 2,
There's no
1.
options here. Play here.
It's
2 colors, artifact creature mirror.
1/1.
It has in fact.
You guys said that at the same time.
Do you want to keep going?
Nice.
INFECT! Tap and one to your mana pool! They watch for the new master, one more sinister than the last. Nice.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. Don't let this think that we're going to be doing the pass the turn crap that I know you want us to.
Pass the turn.
Barf.
Anyways, I look at this card.
Nice.
I see it only at $1. It being colorless, it adds mana, and it has INFECT. I don't know why you wouldn't just put this in a lot of different decks.
I agree with that. And now that I'm thinking about it, why isn't this in, like, Eldrazi decks?
Why isn't this in every single Atraxa deck? Because even if you don't do an INFECT sub-theme, just do it.
Well, and there is like this bizarro build of this that's kind of like a section of it where you play it more like a modern deck, knowing that you really only have 6 creatures that have infected them, and they're cheap, so that you can just get them out, pump them up, and just one-shot people. That's a little too slimy for my taste. Like, it kind of goes wrong because there's so much removal. But this card, again, like, accelerates you. It sucks that this doesn't really help you for your commander. But this isn't like if you don't play Atraxa, you lose sort of deck. So I'm glad it's $1 because I think I have like 6 of these, so it's very exciting too.
All right. I just had an idea while you were talking about slimy. So I think we should make a Big Tux mannerism card that we send out with every Patreon member to understand what the hell Big Tuck's talking about all this time.
I think if I had one of those for my life, it would be like a 3-ring journal.
Oh God, what was the thing growing up? Like it was always like the multicolored and had like the zebras and like the Trapper Keepers.
I think it's just Trapper Keepers.
No, well that's the brand, but what was the art? It's
like a 3-ring notebook?
No, like because it had like the multicolored art. It was zebras and unicorns, but everyone had them. Laura Frank? Yeah.
Oh, yes. That
stuff.
I do remember the Laura Frank because it was like every single girl in grade school and middle school had Laura Frank binders.
How do you not remember those?
I must have drank that out of my memory. I have no idea. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Well, I thought that's what you're...
we went to the same school.
Not elementary.
Middle?
Yeah, middle, yeah.
Nobody had binders in elementary school. I didn't know in elementary school. I didn't have enough knowledge to keep a binder's worth of information.
So let's see if we go 3 for 3. What's your last one?
It's a green spell.
Nah, we're good.
What, really?
Yep.
Wow. I thought that would be a layup. So I am actually going to go with a card which is kind of weird. It kind of falls into the multiple categories as well. I'm talking about Plane-Wide Celebration. Mostly in here because I opened one. I think it's kind of cute. This is definitely a card that's a little on the sweaty side. So 5 colors, green for green uncop.
Oh my God, he's squinting so hard.
It's 40 cents on TCG. Choose 4. You may choose the same mode more than once. So create a 2/2 citizen creature token that's all colors. Return permanent card. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand.
You got it?
No. Proliferate, and you can gain 4 life. So in reality, what this card says is if you can cast it and proliferate, you win the game. If not, you get all your cards back from the graveyard. So I don't really see myself using it for a 2/2 creature, I guess, unless I'm in complete bind. And gaining 4 life is sort of irrelevant in Commander. Gaining 12, well,
I mean,
16.
I am kind of surprised you're not trying for the Hordes in the deck, because then you could make 4 2/2 dudes to swing. I
had Triumph of the Hordes in here, but I cut them because all my stuff already has Infect. So it's kind of like a little redundant. I think I like this card because I'm a sucker for modal cards more than anything. In reality, it's probably a little overcosted for what it does, and I've never played it.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember when this card came out, and initially everyone's thought was like, "Oh my gosh, Super Friends deck, slam dunk!" Like in theory, you play this and you win the game, but it's 7 mana, and maybe you win the game. Because like a lot of times an ultimate doesn't just outright win it; it just oppresses enough where maybe people want to quit. So I ended up cutting it.
In this deck?
No, in my Super Friends deck.
I think if you compare this to like the command cycle, those ones, there's a stage of the game where they're always good, and this one doesn't quite live up to that. Yeah. But I don't know, it's kind of cute, so that's all I got.
All right. Well, my last one is the one I thought you were going to go with, because it also has Proliferate. And I'm usually very anti these cards, but the fact that you can only play it for 3 mana, I'm okay. So we're talking about Tesserat's Gambit.
Yeah.
3 colorless phyrexian blue mana, which means you can pay 2 life or a blue.
So
either or.
2 life.
Yeah. So you're basically paying 3 colorless, 2 life to draw 2, then proliferate. Seems good. I just wish it wasn't sorcery speed.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. But
does.
maybe that would be too good if it was instant.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a kill. Like a lot of these proliferate effects on spells are at sorcery speed for the reason that you can't just outright kill someone on their turn.
Sure.
And it's funny. This is one of the cards that I had to go back and add in, like we were talking about before the cast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's kind of like a infect staple, right? Tesseract is kind of
Tesseract.
Phyrexian adjacent as a character, so there's multiple cards that he's on that kind of feed into this new Phyrexian thing, which is the first and last time they'll ever print Infect.
No, we can't say that because we said they were done with Phyrexian mana and then they put it on Kirk.
Oh, that's right. So
yeah, no mechanics off limits.
Unlikely, but possible.
Energy, baby.
Energy. Tesseract can definitely get you there.
Oh, continuing from the MTG Action 4 news earlier this week, they totally should have put Infect on those Walking Dead cards.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Good God.
No,
but could you imagine the backlash?
A Walker is a 2/2, a 1/1 zombie with Infect.
Oh, man. I'm down.
Now, there would be...
That would make me down with the sickness.
There would be riots if that was the case. I'm not even joking.
Riots.
Atlanta, and I'm going to use this bit because I already did it. Atlanta would literally look like it does in the show.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the grain build. Now we're going to head over to the hops, and I'm going to start this off.
That good, huh?
Infect?
No, I'm not talking about a single Infect card.
Wow, okay. Yeah. We're talking about Blight Widow.
Oh, yes.
I really like this card. And initially, I think when you look at Big Tuck's list, you might wonder why some cards that have Infect aren't in Yeast. And this is one of the few that I actually think makes perfect sense. So 3 colorless green, creature spider. It's a 2/4 common for 20 cents. It has reach and it has Infect. So, yes, if you have Atraxa out there, very rarely people are going to want to swing at you. But being able to have a 2/4 reach Infect, that deters Drakes.
Yep.
That deters Thop-Thops. Heck, the Drakes probably end up even better because they're 2/2s. You put a negative counter, you're drawing cards off of your generous patron. So I think this card does a lot for you. Plus, late in the game, it's like, okay, I need to win. You could swing with it.
There we go.
And do it.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's a little... I think most of these spiders that don't have Infect cost like 1 less, so that kind of sucks. But again, a lot of times you just need to buy time in this deck. You just need to try to find a card that can win it. And again, if it was just a normal 2/4, whatever. But the Infect does help a lot, right? It discourages people with like a small Ishtai from coming in, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's not much else I can say that you already have not.
Cool. What's your first hops card?
All right, so this card doesn't get played very often, and it always kind of surprises me. So I'm talking about the intangible virtue. Yes, but for non-tokens.
Okay.
So it's got some real peepers on it. We're talking about Always Watching. So colorless white for rare enchantment from Shadows over Innistrad. Non-token creatures you control.
Blind bastard.
Huh?
You blind bastard.
There we go. Non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and vigilance. We pray to Avacet on high. On snow white wings, fearless you fly. Keep safe our souls, keep safe our lives. May angels watch you from the skies.
Aw, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a limerick. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. Yeah, so mostly...
I'm going to say that at my wedding.
And
in a church.
And... Big Tuck would like to read a chapter from the Book of Phyrexia. now that's an ace bit.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So, anyways, pretty much it's mostly like you talked about with the Blight Widow. Infect as a defensive measure is really good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you have these little baby bubble Infect boys who are dealing 1 or 2 at a time. The fact that you can use them on offense.
I see what you did there.
On offense and on defense, I think works. It just sucks that it couldn't just be 2 white, because the other ones, 1 colorless, 1 white does the same thing, but just for token creatures. So I wish it could be similar cost to that, but I can understand why they didn't do it.
Yeah, because I think you hit the nail on the head, and you didn't point it out specifically, but it's because a lot of the infects are 1 or 2. Usually you're scared to swing in because it's like, well, they could block with 3 or 4.
Yep.
So the fact that they get the +1/+1 makes them a little bit maybe out of the range. and the vigilance, it's like, well, why not? Squee has Reese and like 2 other creatures. Yeah, I could lose 1, but I'm probably going to get 4 to 5 infect through because he doesn't want to lose his commander.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to lose like his, maybe he got one of his golems out there and he like hasn't had a chance to populate yet. So does he really want to waste that 4/4 golem that he did all this work to get? Or is he just going to take 5 infect and in his mind maybe kill me next turn?
Right.
So.
No, I completely agree. So, again, a little overcosted, kind of cute, but I like it.
All right, so my next one definitely references Medusa, but it's Veraska. It's a Gaze of Granite.
Ooh.
Such a good board wipe. X Golgari Black, so that's black green. Sorcery rare, 45 cents. Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X or less. Golgari Reclaimers resent the Gorgons, begrudging the loss of so many fine nutrients locked away in stone.
Ace flavor text.
Yeah. I like this card a lot because it does what Blast Zone does, but better. So how Blast Zone, we talked about it last week. Once it's at X, it only gets rid of X, and you're just kind of stuck. You can play this for 3, not even put anything into the X, and gets rid of all the tokens.
Yep. Completely agree. And a lot of times people are going to start picking your stuff off. So there's not a lot of things in here that you need to do your infect thing. You just need to have infect creatures and maybe something else. Being able to pick it off, being able to cast it early if you're running a little behind, which is what this deck does a lot because it only has 34 lands because I'm an idiot. The modal just does a ton of stuff.
You have 35 lands.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Makes a huge difference in your normal.
It does. I mean, I added 1 land to my Oloro deck, and that deck wrecks now.
There it is.
So I think the only other thing, though, to kind of note here is that, kind of going through your deck, you don't have a lot of interaction with your opponent's enchantments and artifacts, and I actually think that's probably where this card's going to come a little bit more in play. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're going against like a super go wide person, that's not good for Infect because Infect's not really go wide. It's more go fluffy.
Yeah, kind of.
But man, you got Propaganda and Ghostly Prison, and you got this thing, and you got that thing, and I just cannot. You got Mana Barbs out there. I'm just screwing me. Let me just do it to get rid of all these enchantments. And I think this card could probably fill a gap in a lot of different people's decks. We probably just don't see it enough because it is 2 colors in the converted mana cost opposed to just a single.
Yeah.
I think if it was just a black or a green, you'd probably see it in more decks.
I agree. And the higher end, the last thing I'll say is the higher end infect creatures, their CMC is through the roof. So.
All right, Tuck, what's your next one?
So this was a most recent edition, and I'm glad I got one. I think I got it for $5. We're talking about one of the few equipments in the deck, but we're talking about your old pal, which is the basis for the tattoo that I got, coincidentally enough, Sword of Truth and Justice. And this is going to be a tough one. Okay, here we go. 3 colorless for a mythic equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has pro white, pro blue. When an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control, then proliferate, equip 2. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, hey, isn't this a yeast card? And I would say no. Because the thing I like about it the most is the pro blue, pro white.
Okay.
Stops removal, stops targeted bounce stuff, and that's what always happens in this deck. You get something out, and someone just sorts the plowshares, whatever the rigmarole that they're going to do, right? So...
But now I can murder it.
There you go, because you're a fool. But so I like that part. And then again, I think this is a card that can weaponize. There's not a lot in this deck that weaponizes Atraxa, and that's intentional because as soon as someone sees you cast Atraxa, they're like, I don't think so. So this is something where if you do kind of run out of steam, you can start getting in with damage, getting your life back. I think Atraxa is a little bit of a threat, and also, like I said, I don't run all of the proliferate stuff in here, but I run a lot of it. I think this is one that kind of fills a few gaps. Yeah,
I mean, I will say out of all the available swords, it's the most meat and potatoes, kind of boring in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Even Sinnoh and Steel, I think is a little bit better. That's the blow up artifact and or planeswalker.
Right, yeah.
Because it doesn't even have to be on the person you hit, which is kind of nice. But from your deck's perspective, I mean, you think about it, you hit with Atraxa, or really anything, but we'll just use Atraxa. You're going to gain 6 life, which people are going to be hitting you down. She now goes from a base power of 4, not including the sword, to a 5 because she gets the counter. Then it's going to proliferate, so now she goes to 6, but now you're proliferating all the infect stuff. End of your turn, proliferate again. You possibly, because, sometimes you will be at that 8 on a few people, and they're like, okay, we got to use all the removal to get rid of all their things, and it's like, Sword of Truth and Justice, equipped to Atraxa. Oh, you blew her up? Equipped to this creature. And then I kill you anyways.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it does a lot, and I think it's one of these modal cards that could kind of fit into, because it can kind of fit into grain because it gets her a little bit bigger. It can kind of fit into hops because it protects whatever it's on. It kind of fits into yeast, can kind of kill stuff, and it fits into spice because it's a trash sword. That's great.
Sure. $12.
All right. So my last one is one that we have seen that's an all-star in Frenemy Dan's counter deck. It's so innocuous, you would never target remove it, but you absolutely should every time. Thrumming Bird.
Oh.
Good God.
I would argue maybe one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah. I don't understand why it's in hops other than it's a flyer, but I'll let you explain that in a second. Colorless blue, flying, 1/1. Whenever Thrumming Bird deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. That's it. And you might say, Mr. Combo, you're being a drama queen. Or sorry, a drama
infect queen.
Sure.
Swarm queen.
I was trying to think of like a guild or something like Drama Azorius. Maybe they blow
Rakdos kind of.
There we go. Drama Rakdos.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, no one ever wants to use removal on it. There's always someone open that doesn't have a flyer. And so it just hits, and it doesn't even just proliferate that opponent's stuff. It's whatever you flipping want. It's so annoying.
So yeah, it is in here because it has flying, which is nice. But this is also a perfect. This like encapsulates like a big tuck card because it's somewhat. You're always like, hey, I just need to come in for one, man. Just let me come in for one, and I'll buff your creatures. I'll take care of theirs.
Don't ever let them come in for just one.
And this is just a taste. It doesn't even affect. But yeah, it's so nuts.
When its voice gets high, don't do it.
Just a little taste. That's all I want. Just a little taste. But yes, it doesn't. There's a counter card to this in the yeast, which also is one of the best cards in the deck. That I think they kind of pair nice together. But yeah, Throwing Bird is just really good. You're gonna find a target. You're gonna be able to get in, recover some board wipes, pumps Atraxa if you have the 1/1 counters on it. Just pretty much does everything that the deck wants to do.
And we just talked about Sword of Truth and Justice pairing well with Atraxa. You put that on Throwing Bird, double proliferate on the attack.
Oh yeah.
You figure out how to give it double strike. It proliferates 4 times.
Totally.
Gross.
Totally agree.
So gross. What's your last hops? I want to get out of this vomit pit I'm in.
So this one is a weird one, and it took me a second to remember why I paid money to get it into the deck. But we were talking about Shalile, Voice of Plenty.
Oh my gosh, she's so good.
Is she? Okay. 3 colorless and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature angel that is not a mythic. Don't worry, guys. My new glasses are coming in next week.
Are you going to wear them?
No. 3/4 flying. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof, which is good enough.
Yeah.
But we talked about how Atraxa does do this bizarro, weird, like all these different counters. She does have the ability for 4 colorless and 2 green to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
Little overcosted. Mana sink.
I completely agree with you. And that's why, right? Like, Infect isn't working, but you still have a few creatures lying around. Maybe some citizens. Maybe Atraxa's now up to...
some citizens.
Never gonna happen, but maybe Atraxa is your only way out. And you're like, okay, I guess I just have to do this again, and then you have some sync to do in the late game. Plays into all the other proliferate cards. Something I could probably do better is put 1/1 counters on X, Y, and Z, just so I have something else to do besides Infect. But again, protects you, protects your creatures, which is critical. Protects my 1 planeswalker, 2 planeswalkers, I think, and gives you the out at the end of the game.
Yeah, this card wrecks. If you ever see anyone play it, steal it, kill it, or copy it.
Or all 3.
Yeah.
If someone puts a Helm of the Host on it, you're screwed.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what else you could say about this card. I mean, you already said that the way that people shut down your deck is they start target removing your stuff. Now they can't. Now it's what we talk about. They have to waste a resource here to then waste another resource over here. Right. It's so good.
It's kind of like a tutor in that respect to some regards, right? Where it's like, I don't know. Actually, it's really not. Never mind. Take that off. Scratch that from the record. I'm very hungry.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up the hot profile. Now we're going to head over to yeast. Big Tuck, start us off. What do you got?
So this is one of the cards that has a letter that's very small in the total deck, and we briefly referenced it at the beginning of the podcast. This is, I think, my favorite card in the deck, which says a lot. We are talking about an artifact called the Decimator Web.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah! I like to think this is spun by the Blight Widow.
4 colorless artifact rare.
Damn it! I got two. All right, here we go.
Yeah, see, I was like slow playing. I wasn't all excited. And Tech's like, oh, I can go on with my story.
Yeah,
no, you can't.
I got a bit. Okay. It is 4 colorless tap. Target opponent loses 2 life, gets a poison counter, then puts the top 6 cards that hits her library.
What the hell?
Mycosith grew unfettered beneath the black lacuna, metastasizing into a matrix of Noxus energy.
Lacuna
Coil.
This card is
the old metal
Yeah,
band?
it's bonkers. I've only cast this card once, and here's exactly what happened.
Played it, they killed it?
Yes, I cast it. It's what, again, like a bunch of fools. I cast it. I think I had nothing else left. I was like, this is what I got. And just, I won't target you. Let's work out a deal. And then literally everyone at the table goes, how you doing? And then someone just like returns that. Immediately. So I've never been able to activate it. It makes me very sad.
Yeah. This makes me kind of want to put this card in my Aloro deck. Because it's mill,
Yeah.
it's life manipulation, and sure, I'm never going to be able to do 40 mana to kill you with poison.
Exactly.
Oh, man, it's so good.
It's cute, though. It's like 8 mana to do this effect isn't great, but being able to do it repeatedly for 4, if people have already like run out of if it's like kind of like that mid to late game where people have like already killed the propaganda and you're like, okay, maybe I can sneak this one in.
Sure.
I don't know. I hope at some point in my life I'll be able to cast it and activate it and see what happens, but
I think that's just when you get punched in the throat.
Yeah, pretty much. And then everyone just yells at me for playing unfair decks with a horrible mana curve, but here we are.
3/3 is not bad.
I guess I meant the color distribution.
Oh, there we go.
The mana base.
All right, so my next yeast card should be a vulture creature type, but it's just listed as zombie. And it has a hand of Big Tuck's birthday. We're talking about Hand of the Praetors.
Oh.
So, 3 colorless black, creature zombie, vulture. I'm adding vulture, I don't care.
It is a vulture.
It looks like a vulture. Yeah. It's a 3/2 with infect. Other creatures you control with infect get +1/+1. That seems pretty good. Whenever you cast a creature spell with infect, target player gets a poison counter. That seems pretty good. Seems real good.
Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, it's awesome. And we'll get to this more in a second, but as soon as you can get a poison counter on the board, then you're off to the races. So the fact that this gives you gives you the ability to do that, casting, buffs your stuff, and has infect herself, pretty sweet. And also, like you mentioned earlier about the infect support cards, all of them except for like 3 are pennies on the dollar, and this one's $2.30, which I think kind of goes into how strong it is.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, the one thing I will admit that's lazy about infect decks is there are certain cards where you just have to have them. I would say like close to a quarter or half of the deck, and this is one of them where you're like, if you're gonna run infect in these colors,
I like how you went from some cards to probably half the deck.
I mean, honestly, I would disagree with that. There's a particular rat that you may be talking about. I am not.
I'm talking about it.
That you could have just that card, and then everything else is proliferate, and as long as it resolves, you still get your thing.
I'm going to talk about that right now because it is the best card in the deck by a country mile. We are talking Ichor Rats, colorless, black for a creature rat. It's a uncommon for $1.14. It has infect. When it enters the battlefield, each player gets a poison counter. Yourself as well.
Yep.
This is the best card in the deck solely because of the fact it gets the poison train going.
Yeah, you just have to resolve it.
You do it right then, and you're like, okay, doesn't even matter. Atraxa, proliferate, other stuff.
Proliferate.
It's so hard. I think it's like, I've noticed that it's like if it's an F and then a vowel afterwards, like my Elmer Fudd comes out because I used to do that really bad when I was younger. There's like, this is definitely one that goes into every infect deck. I've seen this played in decks that don't even care about infect. They're like, I'm going to put it in here just because I have all these other mechanics that are going to help you.
Yep.
The only downside is it is each player. So if God help you, you're playing against someone else.
But that's like if you run a sliver deck and you do the things that say all slivers get, God help you sit down in front of the sliver player.
You have the perfect matchup with somebody else. It's just bonkers. I mean, goes in every Infect deck, goes into a lot of decks that don't care about it. It's good value for the price. It's good value for the money. It's good value for the converted mana cost. I mean, it's just a bomb in this deck.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right. Well, my last yeast is actually one of my favorite green enchantment cards of all time.
Damn it.
I don't know why this wouldn't be a I don't know why this wouldn't be a green staple in every deck that runs green, because there's really no reason you probably shouldn't have it. I mean, I would almost run this over Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, to be honest. We're talking about Raincore. Single green,
Sanity.
enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. You might be wondering why. Whenever Raincore is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand.
It's
you target remove it, I get it back. You kill my creature, I get it back. You exile my creature, I get it back.
It's pretty like I think you hit it on the head.
You have to exile it. That's the only way to get rid of it.
And good luck exiling an enchantment.
Yeah, there's like a handful of cards that people actually play that do that.
This is like this. I think this is like an equipment before equipments existed, right?
Maybe.
Absolutely. And you remember back in the day, this card was hard to find. It was very expensive. This card wrecked.
Now it's $1.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is fairly costed. The story I'll tell on this is when I was playing Type 2.
Ooh.
I was playing a gold or Gruul deck, and I had to have someone who was going to St. Louis to pick me up copies of it.
Wow.
You couldn't find it in the Kansas City metro area.
Now there's the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now it's all ruined. Just like how people know that Negan's a rapist.
Oh boy. Hashtag MTGX news from Tuesday.
Same issues. But yes, to your point, there's very little trample infect stuff that's worth even running.
Yeah.
And just being able to throw this on anything. Another thing on Atraxa.
Yeah.
6 commander. It gets there. So it really is bonkers. Do you play this in any decks?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you? Okay, good.
And the thing I like about it is that it's so cheap that if you know someone has removal, you can kind of bait them. Because you put it on a creature that you're in your mind, you're like, I could care less if Atraxa gets killed.
Right.
But they're up there in command damage. They may care. Put it on there, they're like, whoa! Destroy. And you're like, okay, goes back to my hand. Now I put it on the thing I actually care about. And then I pump it, and I kill you!
Absolutely. Yeah, just a bonkers card. Need to see more of it. Hate to see it when it's against you.
All right, what is your last yeast?
I'm really sad because I thought I would have baited Skittles out of you.
No.
So the card's amazing. So I'm not going against another one here. This is one that I think I've only played this deck 2 or 3 times, and the first time I played this card came out to dance. We're talking about Phyrexian Swarmlord. 4 colorless, green for 4/4 creature insect horror. Infect. I got the foil version for some reason.
$1.78.
I know, watch out. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 green insect creature token with infect on the battlefield for each poison counter your opponents have.
Yeah.
So what happens with this deck, a lot of times, the times that I played it, is you get stalled out to like 7 or 8 infect, and then you're kind of out of answers. I think this card, more than anything, gives you the benefit of doing that, right?
Sure.
Granted, you have to wait an entire turn cycle coming back to it, which sucks.
But it's such a powerful effect that you could end up with like 24 1/1s with Infect. And I do think it's interesting that they didn't just say you get a 1/1 green insect creature token with Infect on the battlefield for each opponent with a poison counter.
Right.
That would be a little bit more fair.
Right.
And even then, I would say that's fine for 6 mana because you got a 4/4 with Infect that's making you at least 3 Infectors each rotation.
Yeah.
But the fact that in theory, by definition, by the rule of the law, it could make you 27 1/1s with Infect. At the most.
Yeah, it's really good. I just wish it was a little cheaper. And there's also times where you get it in your hand, you're just like, it can be kind of a dead card if it's kind of earlier, but then it's like your late bomb, right? Which you can say about any bomb, I suppose. So this is another one that I would say, similar to like Ichor Rats, it's going in every Infect deck ever existed.
I'd actually never seen it before. This
What?
deck. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we don't play with that much Infect, which is why I said it was a goofy mechanic. And also, we didn't have anything else to do.
There we go.
Good luck sitting down at a table and saying, I'm playing Infect, and having anybody else want to play that game.
It's true.
I mean, people sit down and play with me when I want to play my combo deck. They just go 3v1.
This is for sure an arch enemy deck.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the yeast package. Now we're going to go over to the spice. So there weren't a lot of options. There was 4. And I'm hoping I baited you on this. It's a Golgari legend. Damn! Valroz the Scar Striped.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to go for this one, because I thought you thought I'd either go for the Planeswalker or the Dimir legend.
So I thought that. I thought you were definitely going to go for the Planeswalker, but the Dimir legend is the one actually I went with.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
So colorless Golgari, that's green and red, legendary creature, troll warrior. It's a 2/2, and it's a rare. And it says, each creature card in your graveyard has scavenge. The scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. So I did actually have to read this, because I was like, what the hell is
What is
scavenge? That would have been a weird mechanic, a scavenge deck.
So I will say that while you're coughing off mic, this was one of my best Tiny Leaders decks.
So how is it a tiny leader? I thought tiny leaders had to be uncommons.
No. It's just 3 or less CMC.
Oh.
So then what you do is you put Death Shadows in the graveyard, and then you put it on a creature with Infect.
Oh, is that the 13/13 one? Oh, that's gross.
Oh, yeah. It was great. It was my favorite one to play.
That's who used to play an Infect deck. Miguel. He used to have an Infect one, remember?
Oh, with this card, did he not?
I think he might. Yeah, I think it was this one for a little bit, but then I think he may have switched it, because I remember he would do the 13/13 rigmarole and then kill us turn 3.
Yep.
All right. So scavenge. Exile a creature card from your graveyard and pay its mana cost. Put the number of +1/+1 counters equal to that card's power on target creature. Scavenge only as a sorcery. Sacrifice another creature, regenerate Valraz the Scar Striped. So, the thing I like about this card is that this is a 100% late game card.
Yeah.
You do not play this before like turn probably 9 or 10.
No.
But the thing that's nice is Big Tux talked about it. His Infect guys are going to get picked off.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually don't have that much recursion in the deck. Few things to get a few things back. And so people will think they're in the clear. Oh, I'm at 8. I'm at 9.
Right.
But now all he has is Atraxa. He's done his bombs. Valroz. They're like, all right. Because once it resolves, you have priority. So now they can't even interrupt it. I'm going to scavenge, and then they're going to see it, and they're going to go, oh, God, we're about to die.
I'm about to get headshot by Atraxa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is definitely a spice card, too, where it's like, it doesn't really, there's sections of the game, like you said, where it's just a blank card. Right, like it might as well just be the flavor text, which aren't any on it. Yeah, I agree with you completely. There's not a lot of ways to get my creatures back. This gives them something to do. Hopefully, you have one of the creatures with evasion, like the invisible stalker, whatever that is, and also the plague stinger, where you can plop that down, wait a turn, cast Valroz, dump a bunch of counters onto it, and go to town.
There you go. All right. Get it out. The Dimir, who you want to talk about?
I am going to talk about one of my favorite cards, Lazav. Oh boy, Lazav the Multifarious. It's the Dimir black-blue. It's a mythic?
Yep.
Oh, all right. 1/3 legendary creature shapeshifter for about $3. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 1. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that into your graveyard. X, and that's it. Lazav the Multifarious becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with converted mana cost X or less, except its name is Lazav the Multifarious.
No, just converted mana cost X.
Oh, X. Thank you. Lazav the Multifarious becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with converted mana cost X, except its name is Lazav the Multifarious. It's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. So again, I think this card fits very similar to Valroz, where this is just something to do with your graveyard, just to get something in with an Infect.
But at least this, can do the Infect. Valroz doesn't actually give anything Infect.
Exactly.
It just kind of pumps it. But they could work really well with each other, to where you pay like 1 or 2, make it a copy of Plague Mirror, and then you dump all the stuff to scavenge on top of it.
I think Lazav is a weird card because the normal Lazav is in so many decks and leads so many decks, and I've never seen this in EDH. Which I mean kind of makes sense because I would say it's like a slimy card.
Well, and it's also your graveyard, not anyone's graveyard.
So
that's the big deal.
When this first got spoiled, I was like, what do I do? And then I reread it and I was like, nah, I'm a moron.
Reading's a thing. Well, that's going to
so
wrap up
hard.
the spice package. Now we're going to head over to the bottle capping. And as a reminder, there's going to be big tucks and ice, cuts, and recommendations to the deck that are under 5, under 50, and has no budget. Just can't talk about those desperate mana-only lands. So big tuck. Under $5.
All right.
Now, you already have most of the INFECT cards in here.
Right.
What are you going to cut and what are you going to add?
So I think that's part of the problem. Is I think I have too many INFECT cards, which aren't very good, or they're like situationally good. And I need to get some more accelerants and that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to be cutting Whispering Spectre. It's in my Hops package. So Whispering Spectre is colorless, black for a 1/1 creature specter, flying INFECT. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may sack it. If you do, that player discards a card for each poison counter he has.
It's a good card.
It's okay, but like it just doesn't. I would rather play the Plague. I would rather focus more on the Plague Stinger than this card because the sacking doesn't really do much. Like the time when you want this card to come out, this card is a limited bomb, right?
Yeah.
But in here, it's just like whatever. I don't know. There's never been a time where I really was excited about it. So I'm gonna cut it for the old standby. I think we've talked about him maybe 6 times. Not INFECT, but it is a great ramp card. Fayborough Elder. So colorless, a green and a white for 0/0. Creature, Tree Fork Druid from the garbage set Eldraine. That bit will never die.
Complete trash.
Vigilance. It gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Tap for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. So the reason why I think this card's really good in this deck is because Atraxa is 4 colors, and I'm generally going to have her out. So it's easy to go turn 3 this, turn 4 Atraxa, and then do something else as well.
Yep.
Whether that's a random INFECT card or maybe something to set up or draw some more cards. It's very boring, but it does a lot in this deck.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that it's still under $5. I'm going to be frank.
Really?
Yeah. Sitting at $2. I mean, this is just 1 more mana than not Paradise Druid. Not Noble Hierarch. Keep going. It's the elf taps. It's literally Fayborough Elder.
Guide, no. Lantern. There's a lantern on it. It's like $40.
Yeah, it's expensive as hell.
Bloom Tender.
Yes, Bloom Tender. It's literally just add a white to its mana cost,
Right.
Bloom Tender, except that it also gets +1/+1 for each color, and it has Vigilance, so it's kind of like, which one is actually in theory better?
Right.
So how is this $2 and that is $40?
No idea.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's kind of a boring one, but I just need, like we talked about, I need more accelerants. I need more ways to ramp up to things, like things that aren't INFECT. And
Sure.
I think cutting down a little bit on some of the INFECT chaff would kind of help me a lot in this deck.
So, yeah, that's fair. All right. So for mine, I'm going to cut, and we talked about it last week, how I tried to run this in Atraxa, and it did not work. We're getting rid of Oracle's Vault.
Okay, that's fine.
4 colorless artifact. It's a rare, and it has 2 abilities. 1, pay 2, tap, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card, so you can do lands. And Oracle's Vault gets a brick counter. Sure, because we need more counters. And then you could tap it, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card without paying its mana cost. Activate this ability only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Oracle's Vault. So, of course, the theory is you get your first one on there, then Atraxa and proliferates,
Right,
and then
yeah.
eventually you do stuff for free. It's too slow.
I had one in my binder, and I was like, I might as well put it in because I've seen it in other Atraxa decks.
Sure.
Hashtag solve word counter.
So this guy, I think would be just infinitely better. It gives you a flyer, it gives you a trampler. He ETBs, puts counters on stuff you control, and then when he dies, he does something. And before the rules committee, the rules committee changed the rule, everyone thought he was going to be the best proliferate commander, but then you realize that the die mechanic didn't work. Now that you can do it, he's back again.
Is this the, it sounds awfully suspicious to a watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Roalesque Apex Hybrid. 2 colorless, green, blue. Legendary creature, human mutant. It's a mythic, and since war just rotated, it'll probably get even cheaper than
It's
it
also
already
a
is.
Weatherlight report from way long ago.
Way long ago. It's a 4/5 flying trample. When Roalesque ETBs, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. When it dies, proliferate, then proliferate again.
Yeah.
Literally ETBs. Let me throw it on my INFECT guy that can swing. I'm going to get more INFECT damage, and then when you board wipe, I'm going to proliferate all that stuff on there. Or that could even be a glass cannon. Hey, you better not board wipe, or I'm going to kill you. You're just going to die.
Exactly.
So then what's the point of your board wipe?
Yeah, I agree. And like I think one of my reticences of putting this into the deck was, I think at some point this was like $8.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
Not
But
worth
this is like the perfect $2 mythic rare. Like it's powerful, great in the right decks, and now is finally dropped down in price a little bit.
Yep, perfect. All right, what is your under 50?
Okay, so this one's the exciting one, and then I have another boring one in the last one. So I'm gonna cut Core Prowler, which is 4 colorless for a 2/2 artifact creature horror with infect. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, proliferate. So it's fine. I'd have no way to abuse that. It doesn't. It's just kind of like, all right, cool. It doesn't block well. I'm not gonna get in for it. Doesn't have any evasion. So I'm gonna cut it for a card that I've always wanted a copy of, and I had one back in the day, and I think I thought it was trash and threw it away, or gave it away or something, or maybe Rafi stole it. So Hatred is what I'm going with. 3 colorless, black, instant. Pay X life. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end of turn.
You know what? I think you try to convince me to put this card in my Greven deck.
You absolutely should.
Because it's also Greven on the card.
Yes, and feeds into Greven because you're paying life.
And what's that flavor text?
Oh, jeez. Hold on here. Oh, yeah. I will flay the skin from your flesh and the flesh from your bones and scrape your bones dry, and still you will not have suffered enough. Grevenil back to Gerard. So pretty much the way I look at this card is I need to, at some point, one-shot somebody. Or potentially
better one-shot cards than this. In green, I mean, there's some that's just a single green and it gives it +4 or +6.
I know, I have them in here as well.
Do you have them all?
No, because I have crazy stuff like Howl of, where is it? Howl.
I'm just saying, I think green probably has better buff effects than 5 mana plus pay life. Now, if I gave it +X/+0 until end of turn in Fear or something like that, sure, I can get behind that. But for 5 mana, I guarantee there's a green card that does better.
But as talked about earlier, this is a card that you can one-shot someone without even Atraxa. Where you put it on your Blighted Agent, one of your little guys, and you're just chipping away, and then you can do this on turn 4 if I hit my mana ramps, maybe, and then just completely knock someone out of the game.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that you would need Atraxa. I think any of the other green ones will... I mean, I highly... So you're saying that you would put, turn 5, put 9 into this and just kill someone dead.
Exactly. Whereas it's the green ones, which I had a bunch of them in there. The problem was because there's so many multiple players, giving +4/+4 to an infect creature coming in didn't really do much. I'm telling you, I ran it. But this card is a one-shot machine in this deck. It's a one-shot machine.
$30.
I know, right?
Woof. But
don't worry about it. There is a gold bird version for $10.
That's gross.
Still a little lot. But yes, Hatred's amazing in this deck. I wish I would have picked one up when I built it.
All right. So this one is going to be what you would call a stretch, but I want you to hear me out.
Okay. I'm listening.
I want you to cut Teferi Temporal Archmage. So, 4 colorless, blue, Planeswalker Teferi. It's a mythic. Comes in with 5 loyalty. He can be your commander. And because the art is really blurry for some reason, +1, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand other than the bottom, -1, untap up to 4 target permanents, -10, you get an emblem with you may activate a loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control on any player's turn, anytime you could cast an instant. I assume that you basically have this in here for the -1 to untap 4 permanents, basically untap your infect dudes to have them as blockers.
Yeah, or like untap my mana rocks and go from there. Sure. Yes, 100%.
So, I want you to replace it with another Teferi.
Okay.
Master of Time.
Oh, the new one.
2 colorless blue, legendary Planeswalker Teferi. It's a mythic with 3 loyalty, coming in about $15. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi Master of Time on any player's turn, anytime you can cast an instant. Cool.
Sure.
+1, draw a card, then discard a card. Get you your filtering,
yep,
get
exactly,
into your stuff. -3, target creatures you don't control phase out. I don't really see you using that unless you're desperate and you kind of need to. Like if someone else has their infect Blightsteel.
Or is about to come in for Voltron damage.
Sure.
The case may be.
Or they have some attack trigger that you just can't let happen.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's happening. Here's why I want it, and you'll have to follow me through. -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. You just talked about it previously, and the reason you don't do the green ones, because giving +4/+4 doesn't do anything because you got so many people to kill. This deck is a lot like Oob's deck from last week, where if you get a couple turns strung together, you just kind of win the game.
Yeah, right.
And so he comes in with 3, he goes to 4, you proliferate with Atraxa at a minimum 5, you may even have another proliferate, he's at 6. It goes to Squeeze turn, he's now at 7. It goes to my turn, he's now at 8. It goes to the next person's turn, he's at 9, comes back to you, you put him to 10, proliferate, he's at 11, pass the turn, I'm taking 2 extra turns after your turn, and I'm probably going to win the game.
Right.
I see this as 4 mana, if I can get around once, I win.
I am on board 100%.
I even think I have extra copies laying around.
I have a foily boy ready for trade.
Yeah, I don't think he wants that money.
Do you have the basic one?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's an immediate slam dunk. I put the original Teferi in here because I had a copy and I was playing Atraxa and I was like, someone told me at some point this is really good. So we're also cutting down the CMC. Getting to get the draw engine going.
Yep.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. You don't even have to sell me on it.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think kind of the cool thing is this does feed into a card you talked about earlier, Plane Wide Celebration, because if someone does get rid of it before you could do your thing, well, eventually later in the game, once you've maybe exhausted some resources, you can get it back. Plus some of your other infect stuff, you start the train back.
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
So, all right. What is no budget? How you break at the bank? You've made commitments that you would do this on a week in, week out basis.
This is more than $10, but not that bad.
Cheaper than Hatred?
My bigger one was Hatred, yeah. So I'm actually going to cut Phyrexian. So colorless in a black, enchantment, aura, enchanted creature has infect. So again, this kind of goes back to the same point of the only options here would be like Fairyboar Elder, Atraxa, sure, whatever.
But you always have Atraxa.
Yeah, but the fact that this is a one-time deal, you said I don't have any graveyard recursion. I figure if people are going to try to kill Atraxa, and if I try to talk them out of it, then they're definitely idiots, but that's their own problem. But as soon as I slap this on Atraxa, it's like headshot. This goes on a creature that doesn't have an effect, and it's just over, right? I have no way to
You're
recur
Rick Grimesing yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm going to cut it for a card that I shockingly don't own. But it's okay, but it fits the flavor for a while.
Okay.
Because Atraxa is supposed to be like the conglomeration, thank you, of all of the different Praetors. I think there's one of them that I don't own that I think would do really well in here.
Oh, is it Elesh Norn?
Yes, it's Elesh Norn. Yes. Yep. Elesh Norn, Grand Cenobite. It's a mythic coming in for $13. Need to pick one up ASAP.
Or you could spend $140 and get the Judge promo that's written in Phyrexian mana.
Yeah, perfect. Another card I can't read. I thought you were going to say, it wasn't a god card. So 5 colorless, or white for 4/7 legendary creature Praetor. Vigilance, other creatures you control get +2/+2. Other creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. The Gitaxians whisper among themselves of other worlds. If they exist, we must bring Phyrexia's magnificence to them. Yeah, whatever. So pretty much the way I look at this is we talked before about like Puff getting to that extra infect damage is so critical. She fits the bill because she's from Phyrexia. She is a Praetor and also can stop the rampages of other token decks. So
it's funny that you'd want to add this, considering every time I play it, you call me a scumbag.
Oh yeah,
and just freak out.
And also,
we have established Big Tuck's a scumbag.
That's not necessarily true, but this was the card.
You're so greasy.
This was the card. This is an extremely greasy card. But this was also brought from a painful memory from Gregor playing this and completely hosing my Saison to our deck. So suck it, Carrot. I'm coming for you, and also blasted with Blood Moon. So again, not that exciting. I just don't own a copy of it, and it just felt like even though it's a very greasy card, it felt like it kind of fit the theme of the deck and the theme of Atraxa.
Yeah, I mean, as a card, I think it's great. I love the card. I think it's actually pretty great because it doesn't completely hose your opponents,
right,
but it depowers them significantly and it increases you a little bit. I mean, I run it in my vehicle deck just to make my soldiers a little bit bigger.
Just have a card in that deck that does something.
Yes. So yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's great for this deck, and it hits everything you need on all cylinders. It's just you are a greasy boy for wanting it.
It's greasy, man. It's like the last hot dog in the tray.
All right. So here's to me. Want you to hear me out.
Oh boy.
Cut Phyrexian Hydra. 3 colorless green, infect, 7/7. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Hydra, prevent that damage. Put a -1/-1 counter on Phyrexian Hydra for each 1 damage prevented this way. I I don't think this is as good as a card as it sounds because your deck doesn't have a way to remove negative counters.
Right.
All it would do is add and just make it worse.
And it doesn't have any sort of
evasion.
Yeah. So to your point, this card is much better in a Saskia Infect build.
Yes. Which
I think I have in my Saskia because I'm a degenerate.
I want you to cut it for a card that you actually told me to cut in my Petitioner deck.
What?
And I argued.
Oh no, is this going to be another one of these? I hope not. Continue.
So I want you to add this Simic card. 2 colorless Simic, Master Biomancer.
Oh.
Creature, Elf, Wizard, 2/4. And I want you to know, I pivoted to this at the last second because I was going to go Blightsteel because you're a moron for not having Blightsteel in an Infect deck.
I don't own a Blightsteel and I'm not going to pay $80 for one. No.
They're $80?
I think so.
Oh, God. Anyways, this is a lot cheaper. It's sitting at like $350. So it's a Creature, Elf, Wizard, Mythic, 2/4. Each other creature you control ETBs with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to Master Biomancer's power, and it's a mutant in addition to its other types. Nature is a wonderful engineer, but works far too slowly for my taste.
And in the bonus round, I think I have one of these.
And on top of that, Blightsteel is down to 26, so I will be buying one this weekend.
And so I think this card, we've hit it a few different times to where your creatures are 1 to 2 power, maybe 3, and the 4+ power costs like 6, 7, 8 mana. They're a little expensive. So at least with Master Biomancer, your early mid plays are coming in. They're a little bit bigger, not broken, but now they're hitting for a little bit bigger. Atraxa comes out, they get a little bit bigger. Their Infect grows a little bit bigger. It just works on every single cylinder. I think this is a card that when people realize you're playing Infect, they want to save the removal for the Infect that's going to kill them, not the thing that's just buffing them. But then if you just keep buffing throughout the game, it's going to take a board wipe for them to do anything.
And to your point about its ability with the counters, I need other stuff to do with Proliferate, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this does it. This turns Atraxa when she comes into a 6/6, and at the end of the turn a 7/7, which is bonkers. As we talked about many times before, I'm in for the cheap. What was your most expensive card here? $5?
No, Teferi's 15.
Oh, still, that's relatively budget. But yeah, no, I agree with you for sure. Makes Fearable Elder bigger too. Plays right into everything else that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Good call. Great call.
Thank you.
Do I have one of these? I think I might trade it.
You probably do.
I think I do.
It did come from Commander 16.
If you don't, I do.
Yeah.
I don't, because I kept it in my Petitioner deck.
Cowards!
And these cowards are at the end of the episode, and as promised, here details about our giveaway from our sponsor, Level 1 Game Shop. We're giving away both of the Zendikar Rising Commander decks, plus a CMD Tower playmat and a pack of sleeves. To enter, it's extremely simple. Just help promote the content we produce. You get an entry for every interaction you do with us on social media, following our YouTube account, all that good stuff. We will announce the winner on MTG Action 4 News November 3rd, and social media soon after. And yes, I know what you're thinking. These giveaways will happen every single month, just as long as you guys keep supporting us and Level 1 Gaming. We would love some 5-star reviews, some sweet comments, maybe a Mr. B sent me here. Can't wait to see what the Army does this Friday, which would be a week ago time continuum. And because that just helps the algorithms help other people find our content. If you would like to actually get in touch with us and find more ways you can enter into the contest, here's how you can do that. You can reach me at Mr. Commodore 5 on Twitter, all spelled out, except for the 5. Big Tuck, where can they infect your timeline?
Ooh, I like it. You can find me at Big Tuck tweeting on the tweeters. And this week, I think I logged in a double digits amount of times.
What?
Made comments, did some retweets. It's kind of like a good break.
Did you change your profile picture?
No.
Oh, okay.
Why would I? It's madness.
What about your background?
Can I? It's in.
Do you have a banner?
Is that a thing?
Oh,
I
yeah,
think it's ours.
for sure.
No, why would I change that either? Consistency.
You can follow our main account on Twitter as well, at CMD Tower. We also have a website, cmdtower.com, where we will have the deck list, and Big Tuck will have the article ready. Basically, all you got to type in is Core Prowler, Mortify, Decimator Web, Tower.com.
Ooh, sensual.
Squee McGee, if people want to find out how to get a hold of your Manolith commentary, how would they do that?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Rich Records. You can find me on Twitter at Dear Squee. Preferred method still, Dear Squee at cmdtower.com. The Deer Squee article series is going better than I thought it was.
The electronic mail.
I'm going to call out to the collective and anybody else that's listening that's not a part of the collective. Keep sending me those questions. I really enjoy answering them. I'm having a lot of fun with this article series, so let's keep it going. Email me.
He can handle all your audio needs and does have a full studio. If you ever do come in the Kansas City metro area, he can also help you out with your audio editing remotely. Just remember, masks required, sideburns required.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I was going to say, no, sideburns are optional. You have to shave them.
Oh, when you come in here.
Yeah, when you come in, you have to shave it. And it'll go to
So you're saying sideburns are actually a deferrent.
So
you can't come into this house without sideburns.
No mask.
You can't
no
come into
burns.
this house with sideburns.
You're also kiboshing his rockabilly recording opportunities. So
wait, hold on.
Not to mention, I have sideburns. Do I have to leave?
Yes, it's no mask, no burns, no service.
like it.
Boom.
What about beard only, no sideburns?
I think it's too risky.
Because then you're only going to get the hipsters.
Yeah. See?
But the hipsters have the sideburns. Nobody has no sideburns. Nobody grows a beard and doesn't keep their sideburns.
Well, a beard without sideburns is just a goatee, right?
No. I'm talking sideburns down to like the bottom of your ear.
Oh.
That's clean and clear. All right, the Godfather's in.
What, 20 years ago?
No wonder.
Before you had your beard?
No wonder he knows. He's lived here. He knows how this works.
Down over there.
If you would like to support the show as well as hook up our sponsor with the orders you're already doing, head over to level1gameshop.com. When you place an order in the order notes, just type in CMD Tower so know that you came from the collective. Outside of their own storefront, they do have a great TCG store. They sell singles, they sell sealed product, they sell everything you need. Hook them up because it helps them know that it's worth actually helping us. But if you would like to put some dollars in our cup, you should head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have several different reward tiers, from as simple as getting access into the Discord to hopefully getting us to our stretch goal of 50 patrons so we can start having one of the collective on Brews and Builds each month. Plus, every tier does give you additional entries into the monthly giveaways, and I will say the collective is out in force when it comes to social media and Patreon. They're winning a lot of these giveaways.
Love it.
Someone needs to really put Spencer Rabbit in his place.
Ooh.
Know your place!
Rabbits.
If you guys can't help us out from a monthly perspective, but would still like to pick up some of the sweet swag, head over to our store, cmdtower.com/merch. We have everything on there. Of course, we give patrons first crack, but usually within 2 weeks to a month afterwards, we do make it open to the general public. Shipping's still a flat $3 no matter what you buy.
So stock up.
So you should stock up. And we still have over 400 packs of sleeves.
Good.
Please take them. Take them, please.
We need you to take these.
And of course, thank you again to Pink Royal for the music provided in the episode. So Big Tuck Atraxa's down with the sickness.
Oh, I was just saying that. I saw you coming. I was like, is there a bomb about to go off?
In my pants.
Yeah, no kidding. About to be in my microwave.
Turtle dove.
Oh, I'm so hungry. So, I think I've only played this maybe 4 times since I built
Really?
it. Yeah, it doesn't come out that often, mostly because it's just like another arch enemy deck. Though, of the times I played it, I think 1 or 2 of them it went off. It just needs some TLC. Like, it needs a little more optimization. It needs, probably could use like a chromatic lantern in there somewhere.
Sure.
But it's hard because, like we've talked about before, if you start chipping away from all the infect cards, then you kind of like lose its spirit. So,
Yep.
I think you had some really good cuts in there. I liked the fairy bit. So yeah. So like, I think cutting out some of that stuff that's more just kind of like, I put it in here for the lulz.
Yeah.
Will help it turn into a deck that's not like a top tier, but something that's a little bit more consistent.
Well, and I think that's kind of the goal when we start doing these bottle cappings with decks that aren't decks that we just despise or decks that we love. It's like, well, how can I just make it to where I'm actually excited to kind of want to play it, but it also doesn't make it like to where everyone's going to groan when they see this.
Yeah, of course. Any Atraxa deck, really.
Yeah. But, it's not going to make it to where everyone sees it and they're like, God, it's Big Tuck's Atraxa deck. Kind of like people do with my Planeswalker deck. I mean, Super Friends, they sit down in front of your regular friends and it's just like, oh, it's Super Friends. We got to watch out for this.
Right.
But when it's my Super Friends deck, people are like, kill this SOB. Kill him.
Kill on sight.
So, I think definitely what we've said Some of the cuts I don't agree with 100%, but I do think the Elish Norn, slam dunk, Faber Elder, slam dunk,
yeah.
Master Biomancer, slam dunk, and I think the Teferi's a slam dunk.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The Rolesque and Hatred, they're cute.
They're a little more slimy,
yes.
if you will. Yeah.
But the rest of these are, I would actually kind of call them greasy.
It's greasy.
Bye-bye.